and whispered to him, asking what they should do. Yoda was surprised Palpatine ran. He was coming up with his own plan on how to respond to that.
You're Palpatine just running across your way. Let me get my lightsaber for a second. No, let me get something from him. I'm getting my lightsabers.
The doors, so Skywalker ran over and did it. When he got back, Yoda had his lightsaber in his hands, and Anakin copied it. They moved quickly. Palpatine's door was shut, so they assumed he was making a retreat. Instead, the doors opened and they heard execute Order 42, 66, 111, and 134.
What?
Two lightsabers ignited as Yoda demanded he stop. Palpatine turned with a sinister grin as he turned the communication device off. His job was really simple now. Stall. The two Jedi moved forward and Sidious slid between their strikes, not even igniting his lightsabers, and using the Force to throw Yoda into the console before focusing on Anakin. He swung ruthlessly, trying to hit his former mentor, but Palpatine avoided, using his skills to swiftly avoid everything. He pulled at Anakin, telling him to go deeper into the dark side, execute him like he did Dooku, slaughter him like he did the Tuskens, be filled with rage, let it consume his every move. It was so easy, right? Then he could have his revenge. Yoda heard all of this as he launched himself across the room, forcing Sidious to ignite his two lightsabers. He blocked the strike before sliding back and giving him some space. Palpatine mocked them, telling them that they never saw it. He then looked at Anakin, dead in the eyes, as he told him he should have joined the Sith. He'd learn what it meant to be a Jedi real soon, and that meant lose. Skywalker raged, swinging forward. Palpatine didn't have to make this fight go on any longer, but he would. The duel was ferocious, and while Yoda was a magnificent opponent, Sidious was just buying time. He didn't use all of his energy, he was only playing defensive moves. This didn't mean the Jedi didn't get close to killing him. They did, a number of times, which is why this was a risk on his part. But he knew he could draw this out. Midway through the fight, Yoda stopped. He felt his head. The darkness was so apparent and strong. What had happened? Anakin was so focused on killing Palpatine that it didn't click. He bashed his blade against Palpatine's before he used one blade to swing below Anakin, which Anakin jumped over before being electrocuted and thrown to Yoda's side. Sidious told the two Jedi that it was time for them to see their greatest failure. He turned and cut an X across the window and jumped out. There was a craft waiting for him below, and he used it to get out of dodge. Before Skywalker could chase, he felt a terrible pain in his chest, and then they heard a commotion. Without their lightsabers slamming away at Palpatine was finally audible. Though that wasn't the end of it. Anakin got a communication from Obi-Wan, as Yoda got one from Sindralik. Both messages eerily similar. Retreat from Coruscant. The temple was lost. The two Jedi looked at each other as they ran to the door to see what was happening, and when they opened it up, horror filled their eyes. The Coruscant Guard was moving through the executive building. Their blasters were set to kill, and they were shooting everyone. Senate guards, representatives, senators, it didn't matter. They were taking over. Skywalker prepared the charge in, but Yoda stopped him. Anakin didn't care. He told Yoda he needed to save Padme before running out into the chaos of battle. Yoda watched Anakin throw some clones into pillars before they moved to surround him. Yoda moved in to assist. Across the city, the 212th and 501st entered the temple. They did an airborne attack. Without marching directly into the temple, there were bombs being dropped on it, with LAATs shooting at Jedi coming out on foot. Of course, these gunships dropped off thousands of men before encircling the temple. The center of it was bombed, and once the troopers entered it, they turned the temple into a no-fly zone. The only escape was through the bottom of the temple. It was initially a successful defense. Kenobi, Sindralik, AC-10, Agan Kolar, Fisto, Shak T, and Coleman Cash were defending the temple, but slowly their numbers dwindled. The temple guard had a traitor who was killed by Sindralik, but because there were two divisions of clones and bombs hitting the temple with LAAT cover, the Jedi were rushing to defend their young. That perhaps was the biggest flaw in the defense. The temple guards and council members did the most they could, but it was a blindsiding attack from two of the most elite divisions in the Grand Army. At another location in the city, the Senate building, the senators had a much worse fate. Commander Fox led an assault into the main chambers of the Senate building, and they had one objective, well technically two, but the main one was dealing with all Republic government personnel. It was a slaughter. None of the senators' guards or Senate guards could stand up to the Coruscant Guard. Despite them being assigned to Coruscant for the duration of the war, they were still clones. It was horrid. Not far from the Senate building, Skywalker and Yoda were retreating. They may have cut through a majority of the Coruscant guardsmen, but they are being overrun, especially near the landing platforms because air support as well as heavy artillery was landed. ATTEs, ATRTs, and ATAPs were situated across the landing platform, just to make sure there wouldn't be any escape. Yoda also made it clear that they needed to defend the survivors and get them out of here, which was true. The full day was chaos. Palpatine vanished into the shadows, his plans in operation. He knew what he was doing and played everything very carefully, as well as ordering Grievous to execute the Separatist leaders, sparing Nute Gunray. Grievous took honor in this, which is why Gunray was contacted after he watched all of his allies die. His next order was to go to Mustafar and turn off all the battle droids. Grievous was a loose cannon. Sidious did two brilliant things. He made sure the Separatist leadership was crippled, and then he turned the Survivor against his own movement. Truly brilliant. Now Grievous would be left with no military and no support. He was as expendable as it was. Palpatine retreated to his abode on the far side of Coruscant before flying back to Morabon, where he would continue his plans. As night fell in the city, Skywalker moved to the Senate building with Yoda. The Order had been accounted for by the survivors: Saesee Tiin, Obi-Wan, Kit Fisto, and Shaak Ti. There were close to 700 survivors from the temple. Who knew how many others were in the galaxy? They were regrouping on Ossus. It should be a safe place for them there. A transmission was sent galaxy-wide before the temple crumbled. As the two Jedi avoided detection from the new authority, Skywalker searched for Padme. He and Yoda didn't talk about anything yet, but Yoda respected Anakin's wishes to come here. He only agreed to do so because every survivor from the temple was accounted for. They couldn't really go back either because the structure itself was nothing but debris. Anakin sped around the corridors before running into Padme's office. He was so hopeful that he could find her. Yoda slowly followed him in before closing the doors behind them, just in case any guardsmen came by. Skywalker looked at her dead bodyguards. Captain Typha was against the wall in the corner of the room, but no sign of Padme. Anakin was panicked, hoping to find a sign of her. Yoda from his position could see a leg sticking out from behind the desk, and as he spotted it, so did Skywalker, who ran around and broke down in tears. There she was, but she was gone, taken from him. Sidious was right.
Marion Slaughter. See, I guess this gonna say nothing. Okay, God. The